time. Coffee time. How you doing? Sat with my coffee and feeling very guilty about just dropping you in it Wednesday and Friday last week. Let's get the Facebook people in. So I apologise to them as well. What's going on there? So yes, we're all in the room now. Apologies, everyone. What happened last week? Well, it turned out the reason I do this on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is they tend to be my kind of lighter workload days, I suppose, or where I can afford to start, 8:30, 9:30, 9:00 even. But Wednesday I had to be in early. Friday I had to be in early. And they were good days. They were good days to be at work. They were excellent days to be at work. But it meant, time disappeared. There you go. But anyway, here I am. And it's been an interesting weekend. Busy, but good busy, like busy, like as in kind of preparing and stuff and getting stuff sorted and washing the car and went out for a bike ride. And I've been looking for, which brings me to the topic of my conversation with you this morning. Brings me to that. Because I've been looking for my motivation for a while. I don't know whether we're all like this. I was saying to somebody the other day, I was talking and I said, do we just write January and February off in terms of kind of doing new stuff and getting motivated and kind of figuring out kind of what we're going to do for the year? And it would be a shame to just write January and February off. And when I think about it, I haven't. But I had written it off in terms of my exercise, I suppose, and to a large extent, the nutrition, the post-Christmas kind of, the post-Christmas deluge of things that still need to be eaten, Christmas cake and the like. And so, it takes a bit of a backseat. And that's why I'm often saying that kind of January the 1st is not a good time to start such endeavors. But, and here's the funny thing, isn't it? When you're trying to find your motivation, you look behind the sofa or you look in a box of things. You ever got a box of things somewhere? You chuck all the bits and bobs, think, I wonder if I put my motivation in there. But it's funny, isn't it, that suddenly the weather warms up a little. I'm not suggesting for a minute it's warm, but the sun, you get the sun on your back kind of once in a while, and the nights are getting a little lighter and stuff, and suddenly you start to feel a bit more kind of positive. And is motivation a feeling? Is it is it something you just pause and wait for? That's probably what I've done this time round. And I'm mindful and know that my reading of some literature on this, probably last year sometime, was that, motivation, we shouldn't just sit around waiting for motivation. In fact, the best way to motivate ourselves is just to do something, even though you don't feel like it. But I'll tell you what, I don't know whether it was what I did I don't know whether it was because of what I did on Saturday. I don't know if that's how I was feeling. But I woke up Sunday and I thought, right, this is it. So I found it when I wasn't looking for it. That's quite interesting, isn't it? That's quite interesting. I wasn't trying to motivate myself. I just suddenly thought, right, okay, I'm ready. And I don't know, there's no any harm in that. What are you ready for, I wonder? What are you ready for right now? What's your next challenge? I often talk about the 10-year plan, and was it last Monday I was talking about the 3-month plan? And we adjust these plans, don't we? So what are you ready for? What's in your head for this year that you want to do? I mean, you can break things down as much as you want into whatever segments you want to break them down into. But years are good things, aren't they? I suppose because of the nature of the calendar and how we operate, and I think particularly here in the UK, because of the seasons. The seasons have a good measure to them, don't they? And we get, well, sometimes we get 4 seasons in one day to a crowded house, but the seasons have a certain feel to them, and I feel, for me anyway, generate a certain kind of motivational force, different sorts of motivational forces, I suppose. So I turned at the weekend to somebody who I find interesting. I've tried 1 or 2 books written by these kind of, veterans of the army or whatever who've gone on to be motivational speakers, and I'm sure they're brilliant. I'm sure they're good, and I'm sure they work for some people. But I remember listening to as an audio book a good while back, which was probably the problem. If I'd read the book, I probably would have been all right. But I listened to it as an audio book narrated by the author, and I just had this army fella shouting at me about what I had to do in a very, very hostile, I felt, tone. And I thought I'd been shouted at. But anyway, I got attracted to David Goggins through a friend, and who put me on one, and quite like the guy. I think he's and I've started listening to his book. That's the point that I'm getting to. I felt very motivated, and I felt motivated. Have I got it here? I felt motivated by one of his quotes that popped up. Let me tell you. I'll have to get it up just so I get it right. Let me tell you what it was. One of his quotes popped up somewhere or other. Oh, it was this here. David Goggins. I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. Yes. Come on. I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. And I saw that on. I actually. It's interesting how the dominoes fall, isn't it? I didn't see that on Saturday. That wasn't what motivated me. But I think sometimes when you put yourself out there, I don't know what's going on, but sometimes you then start to find things. I suppose you start to look at, well, it could be the bloody algorithm, couldn't it? Because I've been out for a bike ride, and I was messaging Jamie, telling him how fired up I was, and then this thing turns up. This Goggins thing turns up. How interesting. Well, there you are. I mean, it helped. Absolutely helped. Just like, yeah, come on. Got my war face on. So Goggins he's a really interesting character. I've just started listening to his book this morning while I was on my walk, and I did a bit of a workout in the back garden, and so I listened to it, and he comes from an abusive family relationship. His father was abusive towards him and his mother, experienced racism and what have you. And he says this led to him having a very negative self-image. And the book, I'm assuming, he's going to give us some 10 rules or whatever. I'm assuming it's going to be about that. Served in the forces, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and was a Navy SEAL. So, pretty cool. That's all right. He also holds the Guinness Book World Record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, 4,030 pull-ups in a single day. And he's done ultramarathons and all sorts. So, if you want to get fit, this is the guy to go to, isn't it? If you want to grow hair, it's me. It's getting cut on Thursday. So, yes. There you go. Anyway, enough of my hair. So, he's wrote this book called Can't Hurt Me. And, I've only taken notes from the introduction. I'm further into the book than that, but I've only taken notes from the introduction. And already I'm feeling massively motivated by this, because he's not shouting at me. He's just being firm. That's what I need. I need a firm hand. Life isn't fair, he says. It's not supposed to be. Interesting. That resonates with me, with the Stoic philosophy thing that I keep talking about. That generally, life's hard with occasional bouts of happiness, and we need to set our happiness on the things we can control. Life isn't fair, he says. It's not supposed to be. He says life doesn't discriminate. We have to prepare for it. See, this is why it resonates, isn't it? Because these are all the things I say. We have to prepare for it. The right mindset is everything. So if we're talking about motivation, we have to accept, I think, what life isn't fair. It's not supposed to be. Tells me is, right, this is not going to be easy. Right, okay. Whatever you're going to do, it's not going to be easy. Prepare for it. Come in with the right mindset. And he says the two things that are key. And we know this, again, it's one of those things where I listened to this first 10 minutes of this book and I thought that pulls together all of these strands that I love and I love to talk about and I try and utilize. And interestingly, that has had an amazing impact on my life in general, but not necessarily on my fitness and nutrition. It's had some impact, but not as good as my, being organized and all that kind of stuff, and my meditation and mindfulness and that approach. So this is the if I'm talking about the thing that I want to achieve this year, this is the thing that I want to nail, isn't it? Really, practice and repetition, he says. Practice and repetition. And that kind of fits, I suppose, with that thing about motivation. Not, you don't just wait for it to strike. You have to just do something. Just keep practicing. Keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Just keep repeating the same thing. It has to come from within. That's one of the other things he says. And that fits with a lot of the stuff I say, doesn't it? That I've said in the past. Find your why, all that kind of stuff. It has to come from in. You have to believe you are here for a reason. What's your reason? So that all fits, doesn't it? And I really love this. I really love this. This was one thing that just struck me. When you hear something different. So I hadn't heard anything different there, but it was helpful. It's helpful. But then he said, your mind has a tactical advantage over you because it knows your pain, it knows your insecurities, and it knows your fear. So your mind has a tactical advantage over you. So I was thinking this through as I was walking. So I was thinking, when it comes to me getting fitter or me losing a bit of weight or whatever, I feel I bleat on about this all the time. Just do it. You know what I mean? Do something about it. When it comes to those things, your mind has a tactical advantage over you because it knows your pain, your insecurities and fears. So he says you have to take ownership of your life. And as I heard that, I was thinking of that thing that I might have said, but I've certainly posted this somewhere, is the thing that we have, the thing that we think we have is time. We haven't. And that's that thing. I don't mean like time today. I don't mean time to get the things done. I mean time to change things, time to be different. We don't have the time. We are here, but for the blink of an eye. In the history of the world, 90 years, if we're lucky enough to get 90 years, it's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, day by day as we live it feels like a long time, but it isn't. And I do this exercise, I've probably told you before, I do this exercise sometimes with groups of students, and it's I think it's a Simon Sinek thing. It's one of those leadership-y type guru people. I think it might be his. And it's a chart that has a line of boxes for every year you're alive, 0 to 90, 52 boxes on each page. And the idea is that you cross off the years and the weeks as you go. And the folks in the room who do it, who are like 24, cross them off and go, oh, bloody hell, look how much of my life has already gone. And I show them mine, 55. I go, look at mine. And the thing I say is, in that bit that I've got left, and I mightn't have all of that left, I have more stuff in my head that I want to do than I've done in the previous 55. So you have to take ownership of your life because we think we've got time and we haven't. We haven't. It's ticking by. I don't get today back. Don't get it back. And he says, you're in danger of living a life of such comfort. You will die not knowing your potential. And I think that is the world that we live in right now, isn't it? The vast majority of us living in this country and in many other countries, not all, obviously. There's huge amounts of poverty in the world, huge amounts of desperation, if I can put it that way. But for people like me, and probably most of the people I'm talking to, most of you, we live comfortable lives. And we're anesthetized by capitalism. We're anesthetized by stuff that we die not knowing our potential. Anyway, that's Goggins, and I have to agree with that. And I'll leave you with this, because I thought this was really good. It's not about feeling better. It's about being better. So this is not about emotions. It's not about feelings. It's about actually being better, fitter, healthier, more organized. And actually, that's the thing with this 3 pillars of resilience that I talk about all the time. If you are fitter, healthier, and in control, practical resilience, practically organized, actually supports your emotional intelligence, your emotional well-being, your emotional regulation. So let's do that. So let's go with Goggins. I'm going to read it again, but I feel I need to look at it because he's there doing some sort of ridiculous exercise that I'm going to do. Handstand. I always said I want to do a handstand. Don't stop when I'm tired. Stop when I'm done. Game over. Enjoy Monday. See you soon.